Hey everyone, welcome to No Way Stories. Have you ever read something online, maybe scrolled through Reddit and just stopped dead in your tracks thinking, there is absolutely no way that's real? Well, that's exactly what we explore here. I find the most jaw-dropping, unbelievable, and sometimes downright crazy stories people share, and today's lineup is no exception. Prepare to be shocked. Let's kick things off with this first one. Imagine having two dogs that are more than just pets. They're basically your kids, the absolute center of your world. That's how it is for my friend and her partner. These two beautiful dogs are everything to them. Unfortunately, they live next door to someone who absolutely despises these dogs. They live in townhomes where the front yards are all connected, really close together, and this neighbor couldn't stand it if the dogs even set a paw near his property line. For a while, my friends didn't realize the extent of his hatred. But then, things took a dark turn. He apparently started leaving food scraps out near his property line. Food that the dogs, being dogs, naturally found and ate. Suddenly, both dogs became violently, terrifyingly ill. We're talking emergency vet visits, frantic calls, hospitalization. It was touch and go. Heartbreakingly, despite everyone's best efforts, one of the dogs didn't make it. He passed away. The other pulled through, but only just barely, a shadow of their former energetic self. The devastated couple needed answers. A toxicology report on the poor dog that passed confirmed their worst fears: rat poison. There was absolutely no doubt in their minds who was responsible: the hateful neighbor who deliberately left the poisoned food out. To make matters even more chilling, another neighbor later shared that their own cat had mysteriously gotten sick and died after wandering into that same neighbor's yard years before. Now here's the gut-wrenching part. They live somewhere the authorities are completely useless for this kind of horrific act. Reporting it, pleading for help, providing the evidence, it led absolutely nowhere. The police basically shrugged. There would be no official justice for their murdered family member. So picture this impossible situation. You're grieving, you're furious, and the monster who killed your dog lives right next door, facing zero consequences. My friends are stuck there, living beside this poisoner. The question they're grappling with, and what this is all about, is this: what can they do? What kind of subtle, extremely inconvenient things could slowly make this neighbor's life a living hell, targeting his home or car without being obvious? All right, let me paint you a picture. I'm 20, right? And I'd been dating this older guy, he's 33. We'd been together for maybe 6, 7 months, long enough that things were actually getting pretty serious. We'd even moved in together, just temporarily at first, but it felt real. We were actually talking about marriage, planning a future. Everything seemed like it was falling into place. You know how they say the moment you admit things are going well, that's exactly when everything goes sideways. Yeah, that happened. So one night I was staying over at my parents' house. I had a hair appointment the next day and just wanted to crash early. I'm literally just settling into bed, ready to drift off, when my phone rings. Unknown number. I answer, and it's this woman. She introduces herself, nice and calm at first, and then drops this bomb. She says she thinks we might be sharing a boyfriend. My first thought, total disbelief. I'm like, no, that's impossible. My boyfriend can't possibly be your boyfriend. But then, she said his name, and honestly, my heart just dropped, sank right down into my shoes. It gets worse. To prove it, she starts describing our place, the place I was living in with him. She knew details. And then she tells me almost casually that she'd been there and in a fit of rage had actually torn up some of my clothes. Can you even imagine? Someone you don't know in your space destroying your things because he's a liar. I just couldn't believe it. Okay, so fast forward to today. Here's the kicker. Technically, he and I are still together. But don't get it twisted, I am absolutely planning my exit strategy, and I'm not looking to just quietly disappear. No, I want to go out with a bang. He needs to pay for this humiliation, for the lies. So that's why I'm putting this out there. I'm not asking for permission or trying to justify what I'm planning. I need ideas. And I'm not talking about some weak sauce like sprinkling mashed potatoes on his lawn. I want the worst of the worst, the kind of thing that truly makes him miserable. So lay it on me, what have you got? Let me share something that goes way back. When I was just 12 years old, a really difficult chapter began in my life. My mother left my father and the man she left him for. Well, he caused me profound harm during that time. It was a period where I felt powerless being so young. Fast forward 15 years. Life moves on, but some scars remain. Just a few days ago, I heard through the grapevine and later confirmed that this same man had a sudden, severe medical emergency, apparently a brain aneurysm, and ended up in the ICU. Hearing this news brought up a lot of complicated feelings. After 15 years, thinking about everything he was responsible for, not just the trauma he inflicted on me, but reportedly how he treated others, including my mother. Seeing him face such a serious situation didn't evoke sadness in me. Everyone else might be rallying around, sending well wishes, maybe visiting. But I've made a conscious decision. I will be the one person who doesn't reach out. I won't visit. I won't send a message. My silence is intentional. After all this time, he needs to understand, if he's able to, that forgiveness isn't something I've ever been able to offer for what happened. It feels like it took far too long for any kind of consequence to catch up to him. While I wouldn't wish ill on anyone lightly, there's a heavy feeling, maybe a sense of grim balance, knowing that after everything, something significant finally happened. Let me tell you about my experience with the woman who gave birth to me, my egg donor, as I call her. Growing up, she subjected me to intense verbal, mental, and physical abuse, relentlessly, until the day I finally managed to move out. Cutting contact was the next logical step for my own survival. Her response? To drag my name through the mud all over social media. Years later, when she was dying, a part of me braced for that phone call, the one where she might, just maybe, try to ask for forgiveness. But it never came, which honestly didn't surprise me at all. She passed away just as stubborn and unwilling to face things as ever. Now, I did show up at the funeral, not out of grief, but for my own reasons. I needed absolute confirmation that it wasn't some kind of elaborate manipulation, that this chapter was truly, finally closed. I needed to see it with my own eyes. It's important to know I was the only one of my siblings she physically abused. So at the funeral, when one of my siblings, someone who used to dismiss my experiences, calling me a liar, tried to approach me, likely looking for some kind of reconciliation, I just couldn't. I looked them straight in the face and said something like, "You know what? I feel relief that she's gone, and I'm relieved she never asked for forgiveness for the abusive person she consistently was to me. Don't think of us as family anymore, because if I can help it, this is the last time we will ever interact." Then, I simply turned and walked away. Out of my 4 siblings, there's only one I still talk to. Why? Because years ago, she was kicked out of the house at 17 just for daring to ask questions about how our mother treated me. She came straight to me after that happened, and we've maintained that connection ever since. Let me tell you about a situation with my sister that's just infuriating. About 2 years ago, she achieved her dream, bought her perfect house, all on her own. Since she was recovering from surgeries around that time, my dad and I jumped in, renovating it together for her. It was a real labor of love. Not long after, her new boyfriend moved in. He seemed okay at first, decent guy, maybe a little nervous, a bit insecure, but nothing alarming. Things seemed to move fast. By Christmas last year, he was talking marriage, proposed getting engaged, and offered to help pay the mortgage. There was just one catch, he said. To share mortgage responsibility equally, he needed to be added as a co-owner on the house deed. My sister, trusting him and believing they were building a future and starting a family, which, in hindsight, feels like clear manipulation, signed the paperwork. Well, the ink was barely dry on those papers when he did a complete 180. It was like a switch flipped. He turned into a completely different person, nasty, verbally abusive on an almost daily basis. It got unbearable. When she finally asked him to move out, his response was chilling. He basically said, "No, I own half the house now and half of everything in it. We're selling, I get half the profit, half the furniture, and I'm not leaving until I get my money. It became painfully clear this was likely his plan all along. This guy works in banking and real estate. He knows the system inside and out. He figured out how to legally maneuver himself into a position to potentially walk away with a significant amount of money, maybe $20,000 or more, from a house he never contributed a dime to, never lifted a finger to maintain, didn't even change a toilet roll. All while my sister stands to lose her dream home that she worked so hard for. Now we don't live in the US, and we absolutely have lawyers involved sorting out the legal mess, so we're not looking for legal advice. But the sheer injustice of it just makes you want to see some kind of real-world consequence for him beyond the courtroom. Update, thanks to everyone who shared perspectives. We're focusing on a calculated, careful approach now. My sister specifically asked that we don't do anything illegal in our country, so that's guiding our actions. Interestingly, his car seems to have had some unfortunate encounters with. Let's just say, maybe the neighborhood cats aren't fans. And apparently various religious groups have somehow gotten his details and are offering him spiritual guidance, bless his heart. Further update, the immediate priority has shifted to getting my sister and her belongings somewhere safe, especially since he started claiming half her furniture too, despite only ever buying a TV himself. So the plan is to completely empty the entire house in one go. After that, with no one officially residing there, utilities like water and power might naturally be disconnected. Additionally, since professional reputation matters, a detailed, factual statement outlining his character and actions during this period is being carefully prepared for his current employer and potentially other relevant professional bodies or future employers within the county. The goal is to protect my sister and ensure there are tangible repercussions for his calculated cruelty, hopefully discouraging him from ever treating anyone else this way.